On this episode of Cooking with Ruth, we're going to make one of my favorite easy mixed nut bars. And Gary doesn't like them quite as well as I do because they can get to be a little bit tougher to cut. But they're easy, they're good. If you like mixed nuts, it's a nice, quick recipe, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to start out with 1.5 cups of flour. We're going to use our food processor. This is one of those things where I used to do this all by hand. And once we got the food processor, it's so much easier. So 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar and 1 stick of butter.
Okay.
And you can just cut the butter into, like
you want this?
1-inch pieces, or just as you are doing it, you just put it right in there. Yep.
Okay. Like cutting a banana.
And then we are just going to pulse. Well, we're going to put it on and just mix it until it's all mixed up, and they're going to be like pea size, kind of
so
pieces. So you can just put it on. No, put it on.
Want it on?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So just let it go for maybe about a minute even, and it'll be all ready, mixed up, and then ready to go.
In the middle at all,
so you can stop it now.
Bring it down a little bit.
Right. And the butter I just took right out of the refrigerator. So you want that nice and cold, because otherwise it's going to be too soft when you mix your ingredients
So keep it
together.
going.
Yep. So just a little bit more.
So you want it pebbly.
Like pebbles, yes. Okay, that's good.
That's good.
Okay. So I'll just let you get your hands dirty if you want to.
Sure.
So we're just going to pour this into a 9 by 13-inch pan. You don't have to butter your pan, because with the stick of butter that's in there, that's going to give it enough, buttery
and we're gonna,
flavor, texture on the bottom.
We're just going to pack this down.
Right, so you want to pack down nicely.
Get this out of the way.
And we're making this for a special event that's coming up. And when we, cut the bars, we're going to cut them a little bit larger. But it's a nice bar that we've used different times for different dessert bars and weddings and things that people want to have a variety. So you can cut them into small pieces or a little bit larger pieces.
Okay.
And we are going to use the convection oven actually to bake it.
Okay.
But otherwise it would typically bake at 350 degrees. And the crust we just bake for 10 minutes. In the convection oven it's going to be 5.
Okay. So 5
and
for
after
this.
you have it all down, that's
Yep.
fine. So I'm going to stick it in the convection oven for 5 minutes. Okay, and then while we are waiting for that to bake, then we are going to kind of quickly make our topping. So to the topping, we're going to, add 1/3 cup of Carol syrup, or a light corn syrup. Whatever brand you like seems to work.
And this is what holds those nuts all together in this syrupy concoction.
1 cup of butterscotch chips, and then 1 tablespoon of butter.
Okay.
And then Gary is going to go over to the microwave and start cooking that stuff down. So you're going to have
3 to 4 minutes.
Yep, 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
So you'll start at about 2 minutes, and we're going to do the syrup on high.
And the recommendation, as you can see, it's bubbling up quite vigorously right now. The recommendation is using at least a 4-cup measuring cup. If you use a smaller cup, your mixture is going to bubble over the top, and then you'll have a real mess in the microwave. And you can look down in there and see those butterscotch chunks have not quite melted yet. So that's been 2 minutes. So we're going to put it in for another minute. see what happens to those butterscotch chips. Almost lost it. That was right to the top of the 4-cupper.
So how are we coming over here?
This is, I think we can
about
call
done?
it, should we call it good?
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
mean, there's going to
fine.
be a few chips in there that aren't going to be completely
Yep.
melted.
That's good. This
Okay.
is going to be done. We're going to call this good too.
Okay.
Okay, so as I said, when you're using the convection oven, it comes out really fast. So we're only baking it for about 5 minutes in the convection at 325 degrees, or 10 minutes in the electric at 350 degrees. I have actually made these. I remember one time making them for a friend, and I think I had like 4 pans of these made within an hour. And then if you need them really quickly, then you can always, use the freeze down method to have
Right.
them set up quickly. Okay.
Okay.
Now you've got that all set to go.
Right.
So you're just going to pour,
About this
put that on.
scraper
So you're going to
here.
pour that on top very evenly if you can,
Okay.
and try to avoid the sides as much as you can, because that's what
Okay.
makes it difficult then for that cutting, okay?
Okay. See how I can do
Start,
here.
yeah. It seems like this is a better consistency. I think
Yeah.
sometimes, I don't know, the butterscotch chips could just
Either.
have a little bit different consistency for some reason, but you want it, thinner, so then it doesn't. If it's just too set up, because it's like a caramel sauce.
Yeah.
If it's set up too much, then you're going to have problems getting
Yeah.
it out and evenly distributed. So you can just put a little bit more
bit there.
there. Yep.
And we're going to
That
spread
looks
this out a
good.
little bit. You said keep it away from the edges,
Yeah, as
right?
much as you can. Yeah. And then we've got a
Okay, then we're going to scrape this out.
knife that will just
And this will,
even it out just a little bit.
this caramel sauce wants to set up on you rather quickly.
There you go. A little bit more in there you can get out.
Yep.
You don't want to waste any of it.
Nope.
It's so good.
And I keep saying this
Take
over and
that.
over. Be very careful. This sauce is hot still.
And I have burned myself on it, so you do
Mm-hmm.
need to be careful.
Yep.
Now, for people that, if you don't happen to have a microwave, I know a couple of our kids prefer not to use a microwave, then you can do it the old-fashioned method on the stove. So you're just melting the 1 tablespoon of butter with a cup of butterscotch chips and 1/3 of a cup of corn syrup.
There you
Okay,
go. Waste
so
not,
it's
want not.
all set to go. So now we're going to stick that in the oven and bake it for another 5 minutes.
Okay. Wait a
Our
minute.
bars are almost ready to come out of the oven. We're just going to give them another minute,
Okay.
and
And
then they should be all nice and bubbly.
Should be bubbly?
and-
Okay.
Yeah. The consistency might be a little bit different if you're using the convection oven, like we are, versus using the electric oven, but
And sometimes the butterscotch, the brands could make a difference.
could make a little bit of difference, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
Should we,
But we're
should
just,
should we take them out?
let's just try this one
Let's
more
just
time.
try it. Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, they're
Okay,
bubbly.
those look good.
They're starting to bubble.
Okay, if you want to just push that in, Gary.
Yep. Okay.
So they are nice and bubbly. So as these cool just a little bit, then I like to go around the edge, because as they set up, for example, tomorrow when Gary might cut these, then they're going to get really hard. So if you just kind of go around the edge a little bit, then not too fast though.
So you just kind of go gently.
And then you can stick your knife in the water as you
get the sticky
yeah.
stuff off.
And hot water. So I always have a glass of hot
Yeah.
water there. And then just
So it's
kind
not
of
quite hot.
gently go around the edge.
Yep. I'm going to burn myself here. I'm not careful.
And it should be all nice and bubbly, and as they cool down, then if it's too soon to cut them now like
Oh,
that.
it's too soon.
Yeah,
Definitely too soon.
Just going around, I mean.
Yep.
So anyway, so if you want to just put these aside. So we have some bars already that Gary partially cut that we had made, and I'm just going to grab a little dish for you to put the bars on.
Okay.
Okay. And again, when we're cutting the bars, it helps a lot to have a glass of hot water, and you can just keep dipping your knife in the hot water as you cut. And we're doing these for an upcoming event, so we're going to be cutting them in
You want these 4 by 6?
4 by
So
6.
I have the 4 cut that way,
Right.
so we're going to go.
And if you do have some extra muscles, it does help because they can get kind of hard, with
Yeah, 'cause
the
these-
caramel. It's like a caramel topping, really.
Right. So you need to dip your knife in the warm hot water on every cut. You have to press firmly down because they will challenge you to get all the way through to the bottom.
So we've got some cut over there, so you can just, actually just take that knife if you want, and otherwise you can use a serving spatula. But these, once you have them cut, they come out really, really nicely.
Like that, right? Looks like somebody was in there taking a little sample piece
I thought
out.
it'd be easier if we just get a little sample piece out, then you can get those
It's
out
easier
of
to
the
get the rest
pan
of them
a
out.
lot easier, don't you
Right.
think?
Oh, they do.
Yeah. And it seems like whatever kind of bars you make, the first one is always difficult
Right.
to get out.
See, despite as difficult as they look like they're going to cut, they do pop right out.
Yeah. And oftentimes when we're doing different events, we'll have a dessert bar, and we might cut these in a third of that size so that they're really more like a 1-inch piece. Okay. But this event they're all going to be a little bit larger bars, so that's why we've cut them larger. So now we've got
There
another
we have it.
pan of our bars made, and one less thing that you have to do and cut, and
Right.
hopefully as we make some more of these mixed nut bars, your wrists will get healed, and so that it won't be so difficult to cut the next
So I
pan.
don't get carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of A Slice of Heaven and Cooking with Ruth. And if you have a convection oven, it is such an easy kind of bars to make.
It is.
You
yeah.
know,
Just a matter of minutes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So until next time, happy cooking. One of these days he's going to find himself out of a job.
Oh, I'm being shot at.
He probably should be shot at.
I know.